Tracy here with the Oasis for Natural Healing. I've been introduced to the MVX Plus test and I want to share it with everybody else. So this test is a little bit more in depth and it can give specific information about your overall health. And sometimes it actually shows more information. So like for instance, when your regular blood work is normal, this can actually show things that doesn't show up in your traditional blood work testing. And they actually believe that this is a little bit more accurate and a little bit more in depth as far as giving you a good picture of what your overall health looks like. It's been studied over the last 10 years on over 300,000 people. It gives us a little bit of information, such as the chances of mortality over the next 5 years, which can sound a little bit scary, but believe you me, this is actually easily changeable very quickly, and I'm going to show you that in the next several slides. It also gives us an idea of how toxic your body is, whether you have acute and chronic infection, overall inflammation within the body, and malnutrition. And all of these can lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. So one of the things on this slide that I want to show is that you have a reference range and a reference interval range. And this might be what regular physicians or doctors may look at. Well, we have our own reference range that we want to have these numbers at, and I'm going to go over that with you. So while it could be normal, like based off of the reference range, it really might not be. So this is actually, these next two slides are the same patient at different time points. So this one, the first slide, or this first test, blood draw, was taken in January. The next one was actually taken in August. So there's a 7 months difference. Now, this is a current patient of mine. At the time that she got these blood draws, she was not my patient. And I just started with her in December of 25. So she's still going through certain things, and we're recently working on that using a combination of the MVX testing and what we call quantum nutrition testing. And we're actually going to do another follow-up MVX test at the end of February. So she's 63 years old, and her metabolic vulnerability index score is 64. The reference range is 63. And actually, you would look at this and you would think, oh, it's not that bad. Well, we want to get this actually as low as possible. This actually number gives us an idea of her chance of mortality over the next 5 years. We want this number to be less than 35, which means she's close to having a 0% chance of mortality. Right now, at her score at 64, her chance of mortality is about a 30% chance over the next 5 years. So again, the lower the number, the better. The next score is the inflammation vulnerability. This is basically how much inflammation is in the body. And we know that when the body has inflammation, it can lead to diseases. So the reference range is less than 59. Her score is 53. But we want her number to be actually in the 20s. With this, the lower the number, the better. Obviously, a score of 0 would be the best because you don't want any inflammation whatsoever. So one of my instructors, the lowest score that he's seen was 7. The next level is the glyc. This actually represents actually a combination of things. Infection and inflammation. But this shows us like whether you have this number can actually elevate, especially when you have acute or chronic. So it doesn't have to be just like, you know, chronic infection of like Lyme or Candida or, parasites, but it can also be like if you had a sinus infection or, bronchitis or something along those lines. So, but this represents infection. Ideally, with this score, we want it below 300. So hers is a little bit elevated. And this is where quantum nutrition testing comes into place. This can actually help to figure out where and what is causing the infection or the elevated glycane number, whether it is mold, whether it is parasites, things like that. Next, we have the small HDL particle number. This, we actually want it to be above 19 or above. That's what we're looking for. This number actually represents toxicity within the body. This is actually part of your cholesterol levels. So small HDL actually cleans up the LDL, the spent LDL. LDL is, and people are always taught that LDL is actually bad for the body. That's your quote unquote bad cholesterol. That's not the case. Actually, LDL is really important for the immune system as well. So LDL prepares like infected cells, like bacteria, like parasites, like things like that, to be eaten and broken down by white blood cells. So LDL is not really actually your enemy. And what happens is once the LDL is done working, then it becomes spent. Then it's no longer usable. And if it doesn't get recycled within the body, that's when it becomes an issue. Because that means then it cannot break down the bacteria, the bugs, etc. So your small HDL particles actually help to break down the used up LDL. And if your small HDL particle numbers are too low, then there's not enough going around to clean up your spent LDL. Are you following me so far? So you want that small HDL numbers to be high because bacteria and parasites can release their own toxins within the body. So if your small HDL levels are too low, you have higher toxicity within the body. And then you also can have a little bit of a harder time with your immune system as well. So we want this number to be above 19. So her score was 10.9. So we have some toxins, and then her glycase score was 326. So that kind of makes sense, right? Got a little bit of infection going on. Toxins are a little bit elevated, and it shows in her numbers. Next, we have the metabolic malnutrition index number. This indicates how well you're able to absorb the nutrients that you're ingesting. So you could be eating the cleanest diet possible, but that does not mean you're absorbing all of your nutrients that you're ingesting. We want this number to be low. There should be no malnutrition absorption issues. So the lower the number, the better. We want to see this number no higher than the low 50s. Her score was 71. This gives us an idea does she need help with digestion? Maybe she does have some nutritional deficiencies, such as thiamine, which is a big issue in the US. And it also gives us an idea of her protein intake. Is she not being able to utilize protein as well? So the metabolic malnutrition score is actually made up of the next 4 levels: the citrate, the valine, the leucine, and the isoleucine. So in this case, we actually need to be supporting her digestion and possible digestive enzymes, possible other parts and other organs within the body that support the digestive system, and making sure that she's eating a healthier diet and things like that, and taking a look and making sure that she does not need any vitamins or mineral support as well, especially with thiamine. So the next level, citrate, this tells us so much. It gives us an idea of what her kidney and liver function, as well as the mitochondrial function, are doing. Citrate can fluctuate quite a bit and has a tendency to bounce around. Ideally, we'd like this number to be around 2 or just below, like 1.66 to 2 is ideal. Hers is 2.3. So we'd be looking at things like her kidneys, her liver, her mitochondrial dysfunction, and whatnot. And again, quantum nutrition testing will actually help to pinpoint exactly what's going on and what her body actually needs. So, and then if her valine, leucine, and isoleucine are all off, it often indicates poor digestion, inadequate protein intake. So, like, again, is she having too many carbs versus proteins? So, and this can be an issue, especially in vegans or elderly. The valine, the ideal level is about 200, leucine is 110, and isoleucine is 55. So now this is a repeat blood work of the same patient about 7 months later. So again, she still wasn't my patient at this point, but we're going to do a comparison from her first blood draw to this one. And in this, you'll see that her metabolic vulnerability index score actually dropped from 64 to 52. So there was an improvement. Again, the lower the number, the better. Her chances of mortality incident rate or percentage dropped from about a 35% chance down to 20. So this means her chances of mortality over the next 5 years is now 20%. Again, we would like this number to be the lower the better, and the number below 35. And this just actually happened in 7 months. So by diet change, by getting rid of toxins, by making sure that we're absorbing nutrients properly, by getting rid of infections such as parasites and things like that, this number can actually change and improve, and actually pretty quickly too. Her inflammation vulnerability stayed about the same. It was 53, now it's 51. Notice her glycate, though, previously was 326, and now it's 460. Remember, this is an accumulation of infection and inflammation. So something is going on at this point. So she's got some sort of infection that's kind of festering. It can be acute or it could be chronic. And again, she wasn't my patient at the time, but things like a tooth abscess, sinus infections, or parasites can cause this number to rise. So again, this is where quantum nutrition testing would be great to help find out exactly what's causing this number to rise and where it's at. Now, her small HDL improved a bit from 10.9 to 15, so there's improvement, but we still have some toxicity in the body. The number actually might drop again, especially during a parasite cleanse, because when we do parasite cleanses, they can release more toxins. So that might indicate, if that happens, hey, maybe she needs more of a binder. Maybe she needs more drainage to kind of help support her body to eliminate the toxins from killing off the parasites. So that can kind of happen a little bit, but it's again easily fixable and easily manageable. So, and again, we want this number to be around 19. Her metabolic malnutrition number actually improved. It's down about 20 points. So now it's about 52. And again, the lower the number, the better. This means that she's actually absorbing her nutrients better and she cleaned up her diet. The citrate, and I think on the other slide I said that 1.66 is ideal. It's actually 1.6 to 2.0 is ideal. Her number is 1.66, and it used to be 2.3. So she's right within normal range. I'm good with that. This is okay. So this means that, hey, she's been working on diet, cleaning up her diet, and things like that. So it also means that her kidneys and liver are functioning a little bit better. And we can actually see this again, quite honestly, with the toxicity rate, because the kidneys and the liver have to process and filter out toxins. So now you can kind of see like how these numbers actually tie together. Her valine number is almost right on the money. Leucine improved and now up to 83. We want it to 110, but we're moving in the right direction. Isoleucine is up and a bit, and the ideal again is 55. So we still got to work on a little bit of diet, a little bit of nutrition, but we're moving in the right direction and seeing how we can help tweak absorption. Are we missing nutrients? Does her diet need to be cleaned and tweaked a little bit more and things like that?